TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Queer. Now, before the break, we were discussing with regard to Suella Braverman, and I wanted to know what you think. Do you think that she should go? Should she be forced to resign? Get in touch, gbviews@gbnews.com, or tweet me at gbnews. I'll try and pick up some of your emails and see what you've been saying, because it's always interesting to hear what your thoughts are on the subject, because frankly, I mean, do you think she should go? Let's see what we've got in the inbox, if I can see anything right now. Let's see. I shall come to... Here we go, let's have a look. I'm looking in my inbox. Right, so let's see. Let's see. John says, Mark says, of course Suella's right, and the Lib Dem MP you had on earlier claiming that there aren't many Lib Dems in Parliament is patently false. I don't think that there are hundreds of them on Tory benches. Yes, you do make a good point. Let's see. Pam says, I agree with everything you say about Suella. I wish they would leave her alone and get on with the job. I do not agree with Matthew Lars' comments about her. Labour aren't squeaky clean either. Absolutely agree with you there. And on banning the march, any march to do with wars in other countries should be banned. That is from Joe. Keep them coming, gbviews@gbnews.com. But right now it's time for the Great British Debate this hour. I'm asking, was Suella Braverman right to describe the pro-Palestine marches as hate-filled? Now, the Home Secretary has been criticised for an extraordinary article in The Times. I thought it was actually quite good. I didn't think it was extraordinary at all. I thought it was just very good. Where she described pro-Palestine marches, demonstrations as hate marches. Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has called Braverman out of control, whilst Labour leader Keir Starmer says that Rishi Sunak is too weak to challenge her. Even Braverman's own party have turned against her, with Conservative MP Bob Neal saying her position is now untenable. Well, that's him, but a lot of other people would think that she's speaking for a lot of British people. So for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, was Suella Braverman right to describe the marches as hate-filled? Well, joining me to discuss is former advisor for the Bank of England, Dr Roger Gewald, former Minister for Europe, Dennis McShane, and political commentator Peter Spencer. Good morning to all of you. I'm going to start with you, Dennis McShane.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Well,
Dennis.
there we are. It's a heavy day today now.
It has been. Yeah. Dennis, what do you think?
Very simply, I'm delighted Suella's there, because since she's been Home Secretary, the Labour lead gets wider and wider and wider. Today, I think, is a fantastic victory for Britain. We were told you can't have a demonstration. We were told the Capitol was going to be in flames. We've had that wonderful British business over 300, 400, 500 years of peacefully demonstrating, two big events, and they've gone off reasonably well. The only extremists seem to be a handful of Suella Braverman fans who had to be arrested by the police and taken away, the extreme right. I think she's great.
Hold on, you're calling them the extreme right. They're not necessarily. These are counter.
Well, we don't know yet.
They're counter-protesters.
Well, the police, I'm going on what the police said, and they made very clear that these people were there for a political motivation. They weren't talking about peace. They weren't talking about Israel. And
see, look, you can see this right now, Dennis, as you're talking. I can see someone chanting from the river to the sea and all this.
Well, the point about
that's offensive.
From the river to the sea is an age-old Zionist claim. If you read Likud, the most right-wing of the parties in Israel, it's in their Article number 1 of its constitution. From the river to the sea was always what Jewish Zionists, Israelis wanted. They could have all the land from the Jordan to the Mediterranean.
No, it's in century.
It's history.
You might be quoting history, but also...
I'm not history, very recent history.
Yeah, but you might be saying that, but we know that the Jewish people find it deeply offensive, and I think on that basis already it's too much. Dr Roger Gewald.
Well, I think that, first of all, what you said, Dennis, with respect is ridiculous, but moving on, I think that Suella, we won't know whether she was right until the end of today, and the march is over. But it does look quite peaceful. The problem is that the march is basically all about demanding a ceasefire. And I don't know how in the world you can have a ceasefire with an enemy that says they want to do this again and again. I haven't heard anyone else say this, but you might as well have a march tomorrow demanding that Zelensky stop fighting Putin, because the two situations are identical.
And the other thing is, Roger, when someone describes something as hate-filled, just because it's going along peacefully doesn't mean that it's not full of hate. So when people are chanting from the river to the sea and all that lot, just because they're doing it in what appears to be a peaceful way doesn't mean that they don't hate you.
Correct, and the police are not doing anything about it, whereas they are being, as Suella says, being very forceful with the EDL.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But Peter Spencer, am I wrong?
Well, I mean, I think the real thing is that Suella Braverman, it was not her call whether this protest took place or not, any more than it was Rishi Sunak's. The police in UK have operational independence, in contrast, shall we say, to France, where Monsieur Plod is told what to do by the politicos, and the Met Police decided, and hopefully it will turn out to be rightly, that there was not enough evidence to ban the pro-Palestinian march. That said, I don't actually think that anything that Suella Braverman has said or done recently has anything much to do with Palestine or Israel, for that matter. It's to do with her bid for the leadership. She has staked a claim very firmly on the right of the party, I suspect, predicated on the assumption that the polls are right, the Labour Party will, the Labour Party will get a clear victory at the next election. Sunak will step down, and she can step into the frame as the candidate, the right-wing candidate, with the Tory party membership. And given that they generally are to the right of the overall electorate, there's a very good chance you would actually win. What this does to the Tory party, I suspect, is we've heard voices from either side supporting her or opposing her. What I suspect, the Tory party has always traded as a broad church, but I think what we're looking at here is something closer to the temple in the Bible after Samson had done his stuff.
I think that's a bit... Well, Dennis, what do you...
Well, I was in Spain last weekend, and there's a huge row there because the Socialist Prime Minister won the election in July. The Conservatives tried to block him being invested as Prime Minister. That's normal politics. He's relying on the votes of 6 Catalan MPs. Think of them as Northern Irish.
Yeah, come on, quickly.
Look, very simply, right.
Let's get to the point.
The Conservative Party organised a mass demonstration, violence, firebombs, the police waded into outside.
Your point? What's your
point? My point is that if this demo was in France, they'd be using water cannons.
It wouldn't happen in France.
They would have. No.
They're banned. They don't.
Look, I know France very well.
They're banned.
Some are, not all.
No. Pro-Palestinian marches are banned in France.
Absolutely untrue.
They are.
You mustn't say that.
They are banned. You're not allowed to protest.
No, you
are
allowed. Some of them are banned if they're very extreme. I mean, I'm in France all the time. I'll take you to
demos. Did you go to France recently?
I've been in France, yes, about a month ago.
No, just as well, because I don't need to be ridden with bedbugs. Get him out of here. Roger! What to you, Roger?
Bad red bedbugs.
Get him out.
I think Suella is making a bold run to be Prime Minister for the next general election, so the Tories don't lose. She sees how weak poor Rishi Rich is. It's very pathetic. And she's made a very bold move, and you're right. She has a huge part of the country behind her.
She has.
The silent majority.
Yeah. Well, listen, OK, so I'm going to ask you yes or no. I'll start with you, Roger. Was she right to describe these marches as hate-filled marches? Roger?
No.
No, you don't think she was? Dennis McShane, yes or no?
To run for the Tory premiership, of course she was right, but she was wrong.
So she was right?
What she was, if you like.
No, was she right or wrong?
From her point of view, to win the Tory leadership, as Peter said, she was absolutely correct.
Okay.
And she'll make wilder statements to come.
Peter Spencer, yes or no? Was she right?
Totally, utterly, grotesquely, hideously wrong.
Wrong, you think? All right, well, that's what they think. Thank you so much to the former advisor for the Bank of England, Dr. Roger Giwob, former Minister for Europe, Dennis McShane, and also political commentator Peter Spencer. Thank you for your thoughts. Well, that's their thoughts. What are yours? This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Acquia, coming up.